system. And people think I'm anti-education. I am not anti-education. I employ a lot of people in my company, and I see the challenges that we're having hiring people, the labor challenges, the labor shortage, the skilled labor shortage especially. And also, I read repeatedly a lot of publications and they talk about workforce development, and actually this showed up in my office today on workforce development. And so we have to have the best teachers in the schools, and we have to turn out razor sharp students today because we're competing in a world economy. And so what will happen is we're going to put $700 million of a direct infusion of money through the current funding formula so that more schools receive fair and adequate funding. Now this is something a little different, and this is something we do in the private sector. So we are going to create the RISE Block grant, which will provide access, and this does not mean that we're just handing $150 million to the schools. They will have to apply, and they will apply for additional funding for our schools that implement evidence of performance-based programs, STEM programs, other type programs. And then we're going to create a program, and this is another block grant program, Teach to the Top. And this will provide up to $150 million to reward and retain our best and brightest educators. In the public sector, they do not do this. They don't employ this concept because everybody says we can't do it. But in the private sector, we reward our superstars. That's what you do. At my company, we have sales reps. And if a sales rep sells 50 accounts in a certain period of time, they get an additional bonus. And if they sell another 50 in a period of time, they get additional. And it's motivation for those sales reps to maybe make more cold calls, prospect in the field, do other things. So it is pay for performance, a pay for performance concept that we're employing here. Then we are going to create a remedial line within the budget of $25 million to appropriate grants for school districts implementing plans to assist struggling teachers. And this could be mentorship programs to pay for extra overtime or any extra labor time to provide a mentor program for struggling teachers. And we believe, and I sincerely believe, that this will help the education system. And the bottom line is that we in Harrisburg can tighten our belts and we can find the money. And I served on the Appropriations Committee for 4 years, and I know it can be done. And it's very important. And I just want to summarize. We want to retain top-notch educators. And early childhood educational opportunities are important so no child is put at a disadvantage before entering K through 12. And again, we have a skilled labor crisis in Pennsylvania that is somewhere between 200 and 400,000 skilled labor positions. If we don't start filling some of those positions, we are not going to move forward with economic growth in this state. When I visit a trucking company, as I visited one out in this area, in western part of the state, about 6 weeks ago, the trucking company owner told me he would hire 40 drivers on the spot if they could pass a drug test, had clean driving records, and had experience. Each one of those trucks that were sitting in his yard are worth probably $250,000, but they're sitting there not generating revenue. And when they're out on the street on an annualized period, over a year, they could potentially gross $500,000. Well, $500,000 times 40 trucks is $20 million. He cannot grow his business or his top line by $20 million. And it's everywhere. I go to machine shops. I go to fabricating companies. I go to construction companies. It's everywhere. We need more skilled labor. And I can tell you something, a lot of folks in the skilled labor side of a career are making really, really good money. There are welders that are graduating from trade schools after 2 years or less, making $75,000 to $85,000 to start. So I think this plan is going to work and help people that want to achieve and help teachers that want to, excel. So I think this is something that's going to move us forward.